Hi you guys, welcome back to my channel. The purpose of today's video was to show you guys how I do my basic everyday face makeup in under 30 minutes. Yes, this bomb face was done in under 30 minutes. So I did a poll on Instagram and I basically asked everybody what they wanted to see next on my channel. So I gave the option of a cut crease and a foundation routine. So the foundation routine won. If you would like to be a part of this, I'm very interactive with everyone that support me and people that follow me and everything. If you want to have an input on what type of tutorial or what type of look that I do next, follow me on Instagram at MakeupShan, MakeUp_SHAN. So without further ado, stay tuned to learn how to do this basic slay in under 30 minutes.
You said that you needed me like a cargo, you will carry me. I just hope you know my dear.
Primers that I like to use, I usually use the Hydrating Primer by Hard Candy. This is a 12-hour moisture boost primer. It's like a lotion texture, so I just rub it all over my face. And then I go back in and I pat it. To just pat it into my pores. And I know you're probably wondering why I'm skipping all of this. I've already done my eyebrows. Almost every tutorial that I do, my eyebrows are already going to be done. I like to just go ahead and get those out of the way. It's so repetitive, so I like to get that out the way. But if you guys would like to see an eyebrow tutorial, please just drop me a comment and I will surely do a brow tutorial for you guys. And I especially like to get on the sides of my nose. I hate when I see people with caked up foundation on the sides of their nose. That's because it has peeled, because it's dry there. So I like to avoid that area being dry at all costs. So after I let my primer and everything, it sit and it marinates and I give it time to work, the foundation that I'm actually going to use is very full coverage. I'm going to use the Juvia's Place I Am Magic foundation, and this is in the shade Tanzania. So the brush that I'm going to be using to blend all of my foundation together is actually the Juvia's Place J113. It's the round buffer brush. Some people like using beauty blenders to blend in their foundation. I use a brush. A thick, pretty, firm brush is what I like to use. And I like to use a brush because it really lets you get the foundation down in your pores for a flawless and seamless finish. And what you don't want to do, don't do this. Please don't do this. If you drag your foundation all over your face, it's going to look muddy. From the untrained eye, it may not seem that way, but when you use patting motions, it blends in flawless. So and always blend your foundation down into your neck. This foundation, I noticed, depending on what type of primer I use, it oxidizes more. Like, it looks orange on my face with this primer, but there's another primer that I use sometimes and the color comes out like just right. But this is just another accidental tutorial to show you all how to fix your foundation if it's too orange. Okay, so now we're going to highlight our face. The purpose of highlighting is to cancel out any darkness and any bags that may be under the eye, and to also draw light and bring attention to the areas where light is captured on the face. The concealer that you use to highlight should always be at least 2 to 3 shades lighter than your skin tone. You do not want it to be the same color as your skin tone. So the concealers that I'm going to be using, I'm going to use the Juvia's Place I Am Magic Concealers, and I am going to be using the shades J11 and J15. With the J11, I'm going to go ahead and go under these areas, right up under where those bags are. You kind of make a triangle under each eye. You don't want to use too much and you don't want to use too little. You want to have just enough on those areas. And you don't want to bring your concealer all the way over here. It's gonna be too dramatic. We're going for a everyday look, and we don't want your face to look like a halo without a glow. And you don't want to use too much on your forehead because you don't want to get an illusion that you have a bigger forehead by it being more light there. And since I'm not going to do any eyeshadow, I usually put a dab over my eyelids too, because I want all of this to just be radiant and blended. I use 2 shades because I really like to bring and illuminate directly up under my eye. So I usually will go in with a few dots of a shade that's like way lighter than me. Some people like to use powder to contour, but I like to use a wet contour. So I'm going to use this same concealer just in the shade J6. Now, when you contour your face, the purpose of contouring is to give the illusion that your face is smaller. So, y'all see all of this right here? Oh my God, I need to lose some weight so bad. We gonna get there. So I'm gonna make all of that disappear. Here's a tip for people that's just starting. When you contour your cheeks, you can do this. Do this and bite the insides. That's what I used to do. I used to bite the insides. Suck in and bite. So when you do that, it really shows you where your cheekbone is located. Now that I'm looking natural with my fat face and my double chin, you can't really tell. But once I do this, right there is where my cheekbone is at. So I take this concealer and I go right along that line. Just like that. So y'all, I got this 5 head here, and we about to take this 5 head and make this 5 head a 2 head. So you want to take that same contour, and your contour, your contour should be at least 2 to 3 shades darker than your skin tone. And you want to take that around your forehead and down to connect that contour to that cheek, because you want your overall face to look smaller, not just certain areas. We're gonna be looking like a Facetune gone bad. So the rest of my face, I'm going to contour all of this out. See, the light doesn't hit these areas. The light is going to hit here in my face, so shadows are dark. This is going to be gone. The illusion is that it's going to be gone because it's going to be dark. And I like to carve out my jawbone too. I don't know why, I like it sharp. So I do that weird face again where I just, to see where my jawline is at, and I carve it out there. So now what I'm going to do, since I have highlighted and contoured my entire face, I'm going to take a beauty blender and I'm going to wet it so that I can buff all of this out. Now, a trick that I use with my beauty blenders, I clean them every day, so I usually have a little bowl of water right beside me, and I will submerge my beauty blender in there and let it absorb the water. My beauty blenders get bigger when they've been absorbed by water. So after I do that, I will get a clean towel and I wring it out on the towel. That little water that's left, the beauty blender is basically damp. It is not wet. That is what you need to blend this the contour and the concealer out over your face. So when I go in, I start by doing all of my highlighted areas. I blend all of that concealer in first, and then I blend in my contour. And since the chin is the smallest, I start there. And you just pat that out and blend it out. Another tip, I've noticed that this is getting kind of difficult to just blend out. This is where you spritz your face with water. You do not just submerge it, you do not drench it, you just spritz it with water to keep all of that concealer and that contour hydrated. And if your beauty blender, if you feel it starting to get a little too dry, spritz it with water the same way I just spritz my face. I'm gonna go ahead and spritz my beauty blender to keep that moist. And I like to turn my beauty blender. This is the main side that I was working with. I like to turn this side to a side that doesn't have that much product on it, because I don't want to transfer so much product. And I run that nose contour in between my eyebrows. I never add more product there. I just blend out what's on the beauty blender because I don't want it to be too much. So now we're going to go ahead and blend out that contour. Use a clean beauty blender or a side that's blank and make sure it's damp and all. And we're going to just go ahead and pat out and blend out that contour. And blend into your hairline, not going into the concealer. Basically just blend it into your hairline. That's where I use the clean side, the flat side of the beauty blender to blend all of that in. And this chin and jaw contour, you're going to blend that down into your neck. Just make sure it's blended. So do you see this nose? Do you see it? Do you see it? So we're going to contour the nose to give the illusion that the nose is smaller. So I'm going to use that same color concealer, but just a tab. And when I contour my nose, I follow the normal shape of my nose, but you blend into your eyebrow. The thinner you want your nose to appear, the closer to the bridge you draw your lines. If you want to widen your nose, the closer to the eye socket nostril you go. So for this part, I do not use a beauty blender. I'm going to use one of my eyeshadow brushes, and I just like, I don't really wipe. I just blot it. And before I speed it up, continuously wipe this off. Just like how I just blended that out just a little bit. It's a lot left on this brush. Wipe it off. Wipe it off and keep going, because you do not want, you got to be careful with any type of dark colors that you use. So now I'll go back in with the beauty blender that I used to blend out the concealer under my eyes. I'll go back in just to blend that out, to soften it around my nose. So the powder that I'm going to be using to set my face, it is the Juvia's Place I Am Magic setting powder in the shade Gobi. Now the key to using a setting powder, you still want to make sure that your beauty blender is just damp, but when you press your beauty blender into the powder, you want to make sure that the powder like sets in the beauty blender. You do not want it to be like this. So you see how it's uneven, you know, it's textured because it's layers of product on there. This is something how your beauty blender should look. Like, it's even, the product is even on there, and you very gently and lightly press it into the skin. Very lightly, don't force it because you don't want patches. And the eyelid is going to continually crease, so just blend that back out and go ahead and immediately set that. My eyebrows sometimes kind of get lost when I'm doing this, so I go back in and I'll just like reline and reshape my eyebrows a little bit. Since this isn't an eyebrow tutorial, I'm going to just speed this part of it up. So now we're going to set the areas where we contour. So I'm going to be using the True Complexion Contour Palette by Black Radiance. And in this palette, I'm going to use these two shades here, the Contour and the Sculpt shade. And I'm going to use more of the Sculpt shade because I don't want my contour to be too dramatic. And you pat that color into those areas. You don't want to wipe it, you don't want to smear it, considering that it's wet. It's just going to make it look muddy. I'm going to go into my Juvia's Place, the Warrior palette, and I'm going to use the shade Canon to set my nose. So if you notice, almost our entire face has been set, but we still have those areas in between. You can tell that it has not been set. That looks horrible. So basically what I do with most of that area, I've contoured, but I want to chisel out my cheekbone. So that same powder that I used to set my concealer, I use that powder and I chisel out my cheekbone. And I do the same thing. I go on my nose because I just want that to just be chiseled and sculpted. Like, it's smaller, but it's still not what I want. So I take that same powder and I go on the sides of that contour, but a little bit right above where it starts. So I'm not going to put the pattern here. I'm going to put the pattern about right there. And I'm going to use the Tooface Born This Way, the multi-use complexion powder. And this powder is in the color Maple. It's almost my skin tone. What I like to do next, I use a foundation powder and I'm going to lightly brush it and pat it in all over my face to just make everything seem a little bit more seamless. Always bronze my face. The purpose of bronzing your face, it adds warmth to your complexion and it also makes everything blend. All of these areas where you can see where my contour starts and where my concealer ends, all of this area here, we're going to blend all of that out using a bronzer, and it's going to bring some warmth to my face. My favorite bronzer of all time, I haven't found a bronzer that's better than this one to this day, and it's by AnastasiaBeverlyHills, and we're going to use the shade Mahogany. And you are going to place this bronzer right on those areas where the contour ends and begins, and all around your face. The blush that I'm actually going to use is by MAC, and it is in the shade Raisin. And a good way to figure out where your blush goes is to smile. Blush goes on the apple of your cheeks. The apples of your cheeks is the centers of your cheeks. So we are basically almost done. What I like to do, no matter what type of look that I'm going for, I have to put some highlight in my inner corner. The highlight that I'm actually going to use is by Beautiful Goddess Cosmetics. I really want to show y'all this highlight. Isn't that beautiful? So now I'm just going to outline my lips using a brown eyeliner pencil or eyebrow pencil, whatever you want to call it. I got it from my local beauty supply for a whole $1. So I'm just going to outline my lips with that. So after I outline my lips, I want to blend that into my natural lip color a little bit. Now the lip gloss that I'm going to use is by Annoy Cosmetics. It's in the color Aries. Her lip gloss line is so bomb. Like, she got a whole horoscope collection, and this is Aries. Oh, this is pretty. So now I just like to take a clean makeup brush and I just like to pat all over my face. It may be a mind thing for me, but it's just my final knowing that everything is just blending together. So after that, I just spray my face with some type of facial mist, you know. It could be a setting spray or whatever kind that works for you. This is what I like to use. So that's it. You know, this is just my everyday routine. This is basically what I wear to work on an everyday basis. It usually takes me 30 minutes to do this every single morning, Monday through Friday. 30 minutes. I'll be wanting to do other makeup, but I work at 8 to 5 and I don't have time. So this is my go-to face for when I have to work. I really appreciate you guys watching. If you enjoyed this tutorial, please subscribe to my channel. Follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of bomb looks on Instagram at Makeup Shan, MAKE_UP_SHAN. So